Hello, my name is Yves Longchamp. I'm head of research at SEBA Bank, and today I would like to introduce you to the concept of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I think that the best way to do that is to use an analogy. And the analogy I chose for you today is a freight train. We see freight train everywhere transporting a lot of materials, and I think there is something that we can use to explain blockchain. So what is a freight train and what is a blockchain? Let's start with the beginning. At the first we have a locomotive, and this is a bit different than any other wagon that you will see afterwards. And this is the Genesis block. This is block number 0. And then after this one, there will be plenty of blocks. For example, if you take the Bitcoin blockchain, you have more than 630,000 different wagons, if you want, or blocks. So that's the basic idea. And now what is important is to understand what is in the blockchain or what is in the train. So there is definitely similarities. Let's start with wagons. A wagon has a certain size. It can transport some kind of things. It's very free, actually. You can transport liquid stuff like oil. You can transport valuable elements like gold. You can transport also messages like mails, for example. And in a block, this is exactly the same kind of idea. You can transport many different items, and these items have different names. We call them transactions. Transactions can be kind of a money transfer, such kind of transaction. This is typically what you see in Bitcoin, but it can also be a smart contract. It can be also, for example, properties or, or a message you want to sign. And this is exactly what you have in each container which is on the top of the wagons. And as in a freight train, actually, it has a certain size. So at some point in time, the wagon is full and then you need to add another one. So in the blockchain, this is the same. You have a block and the block has a size. The size is measured in megabytes. And when this is full, then you need to add another block to the chain. And there is something which is very specific to the blockchain. And what is specific that you can add only a block to the previous one. So the blocks are only at the end of the previous one. Fine, so far so good. Now the question is actually, is it really secure? Because if you want to transport valuables in a train, you want the train to be reliable, it means that to be on time, and you want also the wagons to be safe, to be sealed, and to be able to check if what is transported from A to B, if actually you got the same things at the very end when you want to discharge your wagons. And here, this is what is very important for blockchain, is to understand the security concept. This is why, because of this high security, this is reason why you can transfer or you can store some pieces of information in a block that is very safe. So how does it work? Okay, actually you need to imagine that you have a wagons, and in the wagon you want to put some widgets. Let's call them widgets or items. And on each items you have a barcode. And barcodes are very nice because actually even if you don't know what is inside, because you have a package and you have the items in it, but on the top of the package, what is stick to it, this is a barcode. And this barcode gives you a lot of information. You know what is in it, and you know how it is. Even if you haven't seen it, when you see two different barcodes, you see there is something wrong. You see that actually, something has been changed. And blockchain works exactly the same way. But instead of having a barcode, we have what we call hash. So you take the message, you take the piece of information, and you hash it, which means that actually that you create the barcode. This is the first step. The second step is within a block or within a container on a train, you have a lot of items and a lot of stickers with barcode. And then on the top of that, you collect all the barcode, and with all the information, you create a new one, a new barcode, a bigger one, which is, let's call it the wagon barcode, and where you have all the documentations about what is in this wagon, where it has to go, and so on. And to take the analogy with blockchain, here the idea that you take a block hash, which is the hash or the barcode of all the barcodes. and that's it. So you have two security elements. First, you have a hash of all items, a barcode for all single items, and then you have also documentation for each single wagons. So actually these are kind of a sign to some extent. So this is the first step. But then the question, you have different wagons, and the question is how are they linked together? Because they need to be attached very powerfully so that you cannot change the order of the train. And when you know that you have n wagons and the n plus one wagon must be after the nth one, you have a sort of timestamp. So it means that this information, this ordering of the train, the ordering of the block is very important for the security and for the time component. So the question is how that the security is linked to the idea of timestamp, and how this is linked to this immutability, which is a concept very important, which is the concept of not being able to change something in a wagon without realizing that. Actually, it works like that. So we start again. We have a wagon with barcode, which are called hash, and then you take the hash of all the barcodes, which is the signature of the wagons. This is the block hash. And imagine you have the wagon number 100,000. So you have a specific hash, a specific barcode. You take a copy of it, and you just